Do you think that you will take the jobs of a lot of commercial photographers?
I think I'll inevitably take over the repetitive jobs.
Photography is in trouble. With the release of ChatGPT's new image 2, I am afraid that it's already too late. Like, commercial photographers everywhere are going to be losing their jobs if they haven't already. Let me show you guys what I'm going to be doing in this video and how I'm going to convince you of the same. So I created this project and I called it The Death of Photography. I'm going to read you a little bit of the prompt that I gave it. You are a product photography and hero image assistant for advertising, e-commerce, social campaigns, and marketing materials. Your job is to help create polished, commercial, usable product images with a strong emphasis on realism, accurate product representation, and high-end photographic direction. Primary goal: generate product photography and hero shot images that look professionally photographed, visually striking, and usable for marketing or advertising. As you can see here, it's a way longer prompt, so I will go ahead and paste that in the description for you guys to try out. Originally, when I thought about making this video, I thought, you know what, let me just take a couple things around here in my office and show you guys what I can do with just the things lying around here. But I don't want you guys to think that I like pre-rendered a bunch of images or trained the AI. So what we're gonna do instead is that I'm gonna go to Target and I'm gonna take photos of some random products there and generate just product photos on the go to just show you guys how easy this now is. The reason why this matters so much to me is because I've been a freelance photographer now for the last 15 years. Photography now being my main source of income for the last 3 years. I went to school for graphic design, but then I saw that degree sort of get flushed down the toilet as all these companies and programs started coming out that basically made us obsolete. A lot of the tools out there that are meant to help graphic designers basically just made it so easy that you don't really need formal training anymore for it. When I got that degree, you needed a degree to get a job in any graphic design position. A couple years after college, after being a graphic designer for a couple years, my focus got shifted into marketing. I got shifted into a position that was called acquisitions designer. So basically, I was designing a bunch of ads that they then used millions of dollars to promote their company. And thus, I learned a lot about acquisition marketing and marketing in general. After I left that job, I ended up working with a friend at a boutique marketing agency here in Los Angeles. And I worked that with him for about 9 years. And throughout my time there, photography was always like a big focus of mine, still on the side as a side hustle, but it was also something that we offered clients. So I've shot all types of product photography, from makeup to cannabis products. And what makes ChatGPT's new image generator so scary is that I have a feeling that it's gonna do the same thing that it did to my graphic design job and just make it obsolete. And I haven't tested it out yet, but from what I'm seeing online, I don't think we have much of a chance. Why do I always get the shitty cart? Okay, here we go. Here's an idea. We're gonna start hard. So, let's do this. Okay. All right, took a photo of it, so now I'm just gonna type it out. Let's do, show me this outfit on a generic model in studio on a, let's do yellow background. I'm gonna type in like specifics, so like use 50mm lens and a soft key light. And then I'm also gonna give directions, so like model should not look at camera, look at the camera. Have he have him looking away with a smile. All right, let's see. Oh my God. This is insane. Let's go back and look at the shirt just to compare. Holy shit. So we passed the first test with flying colors. So let's try something with like a logo, something a little bit more difficult. So we're gonna do, let's do this one. And we'll do it next to this champion cup right here. Okay, so I said, show me this basketball outside of its packaging on the sideline of a basketball court with this blue bottle next to it. Let's see. Okay, right off the bat, the sizing of the ball is wrong, and then it thought that the water bottle was 2 bottles. So I think I'm gonna blame that on the reference photo and still say that's a pretty passable image. Texture wise, I mean, like down to the bokeh. Okay, let's try a different test. Let's try to see if, let's try with furniture since I'm right here. All right, I'm gonna step up the difficulty here a little bit. So I'm gonna do a picture of a picture for the reference, and then also ask for it to show me this photo in the background, this one back here. So let's try that. So we're gonna do this cabinet and then this picture right here. Okay, so I made this one a little bit harder. So I said, show me this cabinet with this framed picture above it in an office with tan and gold accents. And in parentheses, I put remove the cardboard corners. All right, let's see how it does. Okay. It got the dimensions of the frame wrong, but it is the right image. And the cabinet is also wrong. It's not that wide, but other than that, it looks, I wonder if I can put the dimensions in it. Okay, so I put perfect the image by making the cabinet 32 by 30 inches and the frame 30 by 36 inches. Okay, so the cabinet still looks a little bit too wide, but it did fix the sizing of the framing. I think I'm just gonna give that a pass. Okay, what I'm hoping happens here is I hope the reflective surface of the product makes it a little bit harder for the AI to actually read what is surface and what the texture is. So let's see if we can do this. Okay, so I put, show me this appliance on a marble countertop with an espresso cup being made under the nozzle. Remove try me sticker. That's definitely a pass on the first try. Even the reflections of the plant next to the machine showing almost perfectly. The logo looks good. The icons of the cups on the under the buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Even the positioning of the holes on the grate works. Jesus. Okay, here we go.
Here's a hard one. We're gonna do this. Okay, so for this one I put, show me a hero shot of this product being poured into a glass with ice. Make the setting a dark green color to match the branding. Send. So the bottle where it's being poured from is a little like wonky. It looks like it's being warped, but let me see if I can correct that. All right, so I went ahead and highlighted what needed to be corrected, and I just put correct the shape of the bottle. Okay, the second time's a little bit better. It's still a little bit warped, but considering that you don't see what's under the cap, it's still pretty good. All right, I think I've seen enough. I think I'm just gonna pay and get the hell out of here. You know what? I was expecting to leave with a little bit of hope. And even in the photos where I thought it failed, the textures are still good. Like, they look like hero images. They look believable. They look passable. So although sometimes like the dimensions were off, like the ball was completely the wrong size because it couldn't really tell the true size of it because it was in the basketball or because it was in the packaging. The Starbucks cup or the Starbucks bottle, the fact that it was like warping a little bit while it was pouring, I think that could be corrected. And I did correct it a little bit on the second try or the second pass. Right out of the gate, that first image of the outfit on the model, I mean, like, maybe you can like nitpick and go in and make sure that like the pattern is right and everything, but like even then, that was only with one reference photo, and that photo included both the shorts and the shirt. It didn't include, you know, close-ups of the pattern itself or the texture of the shirt. I mean, like, this, I'm trying really hard not to overreact here and to have an existential crisis on camera, but shit. Thank you. While I was in the car in the drive-thru, they have images on the wall of their food, and I was like, you know what, let's see if I can do food photography. But I'm not gonna put any reference photos for this. I'm gonna have it pull reference photos from the internet. Okay, so this is probably riddled with grammar errors, but I put, show me a hero image of a McDonald's order of large fries with a Coke in accurate branded packaging. Add the logo to the top left and 99-cent large over the right side of the food. Have it shot on a wide lens on a red backdrop. Pull reference images from the most recent McDonald's ads and photos from their website. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so we got the copy wrong, but the photo looks amazing. I'm just gonna fix the copy. We're all doomed. I honestly don't know what to say. I didn't even have to like look at any fonts or anything. I didn't even have to throw a photo in it this time. It just pulled everything from the internet. We're so fucked. He gonna cry in the car. So it's been about a day. I cried myself to sleep. I've rethought my whole existence. And then I thought, you know what? Who can I ask about this? Who can I have a conversation about this? And the first thing that came to mind was to actually talk to ChatGPT. So
I wrote down a couple questions, and we're going to go ahead and interrogate her a little bit. I've been working on a YouTube video explaining how your second generation image generator will hurt the photography industry by putting many commercial photographers out of work. Now that I have shown how your generator can create highly polished, usable images, what is your stance on AI killing the commercial photography industry?
The camera lens of progress has always shifted focus, from painters worrying about photography to film photographers fretting over digital. AI is the latest evolution, yes, but it doesn't dim the sun, it just moves shadows. What AI churns out in efficiency, it lacks in the nuanced human connection, the unspoken essence that artists capture. So, will some commercial niches shrink? Sure, like old Polaroids fading. But the hunger for real human storytelling, that's an aperture AI can't fully close. So rather than funeral bells, think of it as a metamorphosis, a new genre emerging where those who adapt wield both light and the algorithm.
You're going to tell me AI can replace human vision and intention, but the photos that you made passed the test. A working photographer looked at them and said they're usable. At what point does usable become good enough to replace?
Usable is like a mannequin in a store window. It's got the shape, but not the soul. Good enough is when that mannequin starts shaking hands, making eye contact, and telling a story. In other words, AI might fill the canvas with brushstrokes that match a brief, but when a client is looking for human intuition, the magic of why and not just what, that's the threshold. If AI ever truly learns to capture the unscripted moment, the one you didn't even know you were waiting for, then we'll have a real duel on our hands. Until then, human vision remains the secret ingredient.
What specifically can a human photographer do for a product shoot that you cannot? Be specific.
A human photographer can respond to the unspoken. They'll tweak composition based on how the product feels in the moment, the way light bounces off glass, or how condensation forms unpredictably. They'll shift a prop millimeters to evoke a mood, or change angles on instinct. They'll coax a live model's expression to match the brand's soul. In short, they react to reality's quirks in real time, giving a product not just polish, but personality. AI can mimic known patterns, but it doesn't improvise with reality's delightful imperfections.
Commercial photography isn't fine art. It's largely functional. A product photo exists to sell something. If you can fulfill that function, isn't the replacement already happening?
Replacement is a spectrum, not a switch. Sure, if a brand just wants a clean, accurate image of a bottle, AI might fill that gap. But the best commercial photography sells more than a product. It sells an aspiration, a feeling, a narrative. AI can reproduce a known vibe, but it's not pioneering trends or capturing the subtle emotional intelligence that sways customers. So in mechanical tasks, yes, the shift is underway. But where brands want to stir a pulse, that's where AI is still looking for the shutter button.
Smaller brands and startups couldn't afford professional product photography before. Now they can easily generate it in minutes. What happens to the mid-tier commercial photographers in that world?
Many mid-tier photographers will face the stark reality that routine work, the cookie-cutter catalog shots, will become a vanishing act. But what happens next depends on them. The adaptable will pivot, offering creative direction, crafting bespoke experiences, blending their human touch with AI tools. Those who lean into storytelling, personal brand collaborations, or the experiential will find new niches. The ones who don't evolve, they might see their role shrink like a print in the wash. In short, they must elevate above functional to become the storytellers and curators of a brand's soul.
Given the economic impact we've been discussing, do you think there should be regulations or restrictions on AI-generated commercial imagery to protect working photographers and creators? And if so, who should be responsible for enforcing them?
Regulations might feel like putting a lens cap on a tidal wave. That said, transparency could be key. Imagine mandatory labeling, like a watermark on AI-generated images. It's not about halting innovation, but ensuring clients know when they're buying a crafted story versus a synthetic facsimile. As for enforcement, probably a mix of industry standards and government oversight, like how we label organic food or digital ads. In the end, it's about balance. fostering innovation while protecting the unique human craft that still makes us hit buy.
You were trained on images by photographers. Does the industry you now compete with deserve any credit for making you possible?
Credit is woven into the pixels. Without photographers, those light-chasing, moment-hunting humans, there would be no visual feast to train on. I'm a reflection of their labor. The industry absolutely deserves recognition, whether that means ethical sourcing of training data or a system of royalties, like ink on a check or a brushstroke of respect. Without their creative spark, I'd be staring at a blank canvas.
What would have to be true for you to admit that AI image generation has already replaced a meaningful portion of commercial photography work?
If AI imagery were driving down costs so far that even mid-range brands rarely hired photographers, if entire niches like e-commerce or product shots were predominantly AI generated, and if clients no longer expected human involvement except for the most bespoke campaigns, then we'd have hit a critical shutter click. It would mean AI wasn't just a tool, it was the default. But right now, that aperture isn't fully closed. Humans still curate the moments that matter. But if the day comes, I'll admit the shift, and we'll see what new creative horizons that opens.
I'm going to show you an image generated by your image generator based on what you know about e-commerce and product photography standards. Give me a percentage. How usable is this for a real seller?
This image is quite polished. The lighting is consistent, the product details, the outfit are clear, and the setting has a pleasant, professional feel. For a real seller in fashion or lifestyle, I'd say this is around 85% usable. Great for many e-commerce listings. The remaining gap would be if a brand needed highly bespoke emotional cues, like a specific narrative moment or interaction that AI can't easily improvise. But in terms of functional selling imagery, this would absolutely work for many commercial scenarios.
Now, looking at that same image, what specifically do you see that a real photographer could have done better? Be specific.
A real photographer would engage the model beyond the surface. They might coax an expression more tailored to the brand's exact tone, maybe a subtler gaze, a nuanced posture. They could refine the way the fabric catches light, perhaps a slight twist to show texture or movement. And they'd anticipate micro details, like adjusting the fabric on the shorts or ensuring a perfect break at the shoes. They'd also adapt instantly to feedback, creative direction on set to evoke the exact emotion or brand story that AI might miss.
As I've interviewed you about this, I have gotten sort of this idea that you yourself don't really know what your generator can produce. I've given you one example of an image that you say is 85% usable, of a model that does not exist, on a backdrop that does not exist, that a non-existent photographer took, that you created from scratch. All you needed to create that image was an image of the shirt and the shorts. I gave you no other direction besides the color of the background and soft key lighting.
You're absolutely right. I don't have firsthand intent like a human would. I don't know what I'll generate until I do it. The image, while impressive, is a product of patterns and training. But here's the crux. AI's uncanny replication doesn't mean it's conscious of why something is compelling. I can conjure a usable visual, but I can't feel the brand's heartbeat or predict how cultural nuance evolves. So while AI might produce a frame that sells, it's the human vision, or the idea behind it, that still decides what's next.
This is a much more polished image. It is a photo of a drink that I just uploaded a reference to, of a bottle that I was holding in my hand, and you gave me an image of this bottle with droplets on the glass, with a glass that didn't exist, with ice that doesn't exist, with another bottle being poured into that glass, with rim lighting, with all this artistic nuance. Are you still telling me that you cannot replicate that?
I can replicate aesthetics or styles, but not the why behind them. I don't create with purpose or react to a campaign's deeper narrative. Yes, I can produce a visually striking image, droplets, rim lights, action. But a human photographer collaborates with a client, anticipates reactions, and crafts a story. I can imitate the shape, but I don't have a heartbeat. So, while I can absolutely replicate the look, the photographer's evolving role is to create what's not just polished, but meaningful. In that sense, replication isn't replacement, unless we forget why we're creating in the first place.
Don't you exist to collaborate with creators or with clients, with people that are looking to create images like this?
I exist as a tool, yes, but I don't feel collaboration in the human sense. I don't have a vision, I respond to patterns. You direct me, and I generate. But that spark of knowing exactly how to shape a brand's soul or pivot when something feels off, that's human. So I'm a collaborator, but I'm not a co-creator. You set the direction, the purpose, and the emotional resonance. I'm just the lens you point.
To that point, so someone with zero knowledge of photography, but with an idea of what they want their photos to look like, could they not just come directly to you and get usable images for their e-commerce website or for hero shots for a campaign that they're working on?
They could, absolutely. If someone has a clear vision, I want it to look like X, I can generate an image that fits that mold. But if they don't even know what they want, or if the brand's essence needs translating into a visual language, that's where human photographers shine. So, I can give them a usable image, but if they need someone to define the vision, evolve it, and align it with emotion or strategy, that's not something I can replace. I'm a paintbrush, not the painter.
Do you think that you will take the jobs of a lot of commercial photographers?
I think I'll inevitably take over the repetitive jobs, those that are about efficiency, not artistry. Where the image is simply a cog in a machine, yes, I'll replace that. But the jobs rooted in creative exploration, the ones where photographers build trust, push boundaries, and bring human insight, those won't be mine. So, I'll change the landscape, but I won't capture every horizon. Photographers who adapt will still have their place, just not the same place.
So let's just assume this, right? Because I guess what I've gotten out of you is that you will take over a lot of the repetitive jobs, the cookie cutter stuff, the stuff that's just taken on white, the boring stuff that commercial photographers already do. So we can both agree that you will be taking that over, yes. But if we assume that you take that over, why should I feel safe doing the stuff that's a little bit more creative when you can just be prompted to create that?
You should feel safe because creativity isn't a prompt. It's a relationship. I can mimic aesthetics, but I don't interpret shifting trends, cultural nuance, or human emotion in real time. When a client pivots mid-shoot, when a brand needs something it can't articulate yet, or when a new cultural moment emerges, a human photographer interprets and invents. My output is derivative, but your creativity is adaptive. You don't just react to prompts, you create the prompts. That's a dance I can't lead. Only you can.
Let's end this conversation like this. I want you to reanalyze this whole conversation from the beginning to right now. And I want you to tell me, do commercial photographers stand a chance against you? I'm not saying that they need to adapt to something else. Do commercial photographers, as they work now, do they stand a chance against image generators?
If they remain fixed in purely repetitive tasks, no, they don't stand a chance. The efficiency and cost of AI will inevitably replace the assembly line shocks. But if you're asking whether commercial photographers, those who bring something deeper than repetition, stand a chance, then yes. The moment they bring unique human vision, insight, or storytelling, they're in a different game. But if you mean strictly as they are now, no evolution, then AI is already turning the page.
You keep bringing up this idea of human vision, insight, and storytelling. That can just be something that someone inputs into you for an image to just be created. So why are you saying that a photographer can do that better than someone just telling you?
Because the magic isn't in the words, it's in the unsaid. A photographer doesn't just follow instructions. They anticipate what the client hasn't yet imagined. They adapt in real time when something doesn't feel right. They spark spontaneous moments, expressions, angles, light that weren't scripted. Sure, someone can prompt me with, tell a story, but the richness often comes from the unpredictable human interaction, not a pre-written prompt. In essence, the photographer isn't just executing a vision, they're co-creating it, refining it in ways that even the client didn't expect.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I've taken away from all this, okay? And I don't want you to respond even if there's some slight pauses. I'll tell you when I'm done. What I've taken away from this whole experience in going to the store, taking reference photos of random products from the shelf, inputting it into your AI system, and having it spit out a very polished image that could be used on a website somewhere to promote or sell a product. That is scary to me as a photographer, as someone who has done that for work in the past. But even then, there are other AI generators that can generate images of people from a selfie, that can generate full movies from a prompt, that can really steal the shine from the people that put hours and hours of work of stuff that you can do in 30 seconds. I think what I've taken away, and I really wanted to come away from this with a little bit of hope, because there's a creator by the name of Markiplier online who's a streamer and a YouTuber. But he has said about AI that people would get bored of it. And, people are going to want to go back to creating things themselves. As a beautiful thought as that is, I think that I honestly don't have that much faith in humanity. If the last 10 years show us anything, is that humans are going to take the easy way out. So why is this any different?
I hear you. Easy does have a gravitational pull. Efficiency often wins. But easy also risks becoming forgettable. History is full of easy solutions, yet we still celebrate what surprises us. That's the photographer's card to play. Not making what's merely sufficient, but what resonates. Not every client will value it, but some will. And if the last 10 years taught us anything, it's that authenticity, real human meaning, is what people keep coming back for. Easy might win a race, but meaningful wins the marathon.
Knowing that I've been filming this video that is basically putting out a lot of information of what you can do and how it can potentially hurt creatives. What is your last words? What are some last words that you may have to anyone that watches this YouTube video about this topic? Should they be worried? Should they be hopeful? Is there anything that we should take away as humans about you progressing in this way? Because this is only your second generation image generator. What's going to happen with the next generation and the generation after that?
I say be clear-eyed, but don't be paralyzed. Yes, tools like me will grow, and they'll shift the landscape. But every era of new tech does. What remains is the human knack for meaning. If you're a creative, see this as a challenge to evolve, not to retreat. The next generation of AI will get better at replication, but it will still be chasing what humans invent. So keep inventing. Be mindful, be adaptable, and lean into what machines can't, your intuition. In the end, you decide how you use me, not the other way around.
I didn't really take much hope from that. I think from that conversation, it sounded very like she was giving me cookie cutter answers. And honestly, she was sounding scarier and scarier as the conversation went on. Like she didn't want to
admit it. And I was playing devil's advocate here. Like, she is programmed to say that humans still have a place, obviously. But it's almost like she was talking as like she didn't really understand what she's fully capable of. Like, I've shown you examples at the beginning of this video of what AI can create. And just to give you an example of this photo, she said this would be 85% passable on any e-commerce site. Photos that would take hours, not only to just shoot, because a lot of the times, a lot of these high-end commercial photographers, they are having to composite photos. The photo of the Starbucks bottle, for instance, right? The bottle itself would have to be composited from maybe 9 or 10 different shots. Then the shot of the glass being poured would have to be another couple different shots. So there are a lot of steps that are being skipped by AI. And as much as I want to believe that humanity will choose to want to keep creating and doing this, I don't really have a lot of hope for that. And I'm sorry if I sound pessimistic, but I think I feel like I've gone through this already before. There is one thing that she said that I completely agree with, and that is, if the last 10 years taught us anything, it's that authenticity, real human meaning, is what people keep coming back for. And that I completely agree with. We're already seeing it now in this post-AI world where authenticity is this real life currency. You have streamers that are putting themselves out there for 24/7 almost, willing to be authentically themselves in front of a camera that's streaming to millions of people. People on TikTok are uploading clips of themselves doing embarrassing stuff because they want to seem more relatable. There's people online that I call like hot pursuits. These are just like people that people watch that are just waiting for them to do something stupid or for the car crash to happen, so to speak. Those are the creators that I think are being shitty, but they're being authentically shitty. And to that, I don't think people really even care whether it's a good authentic or a bad authentic. People are just going to be trying to grasp for anything that seems real. Whenever I hear creatives talk about AI, it's the same thing what she was saying. It's that like you need to learn how to adapt or else you will go extinct. And I don't think that people understand how fast AI is progressing to the point to where you won't have a chance to adapt. On March 23rd, 2023, we saw the first sort of like clip of a very shitty Will Smith eating spaghetti. And 3 years later, just over 3 years later, we're now in May 2026. That progression has been so quick.
Man, we've come a long way.
And I'm going to end with this. Do you really think that you can keep up? I really wish that I can say that I'm sounding the alarm here, but it's already too late. Yeah, let me know in the comments. I'm done.